Welcome everyone to another edition of Games for Cheap Bastards. I'm Kuzinator and I'm here to give you the 411 on free MMOs and whether or not you need to invest your time in them. So let's go ahead and jump right to the MMO we will be covering this episode. Elsword is a side-scrolling 2.5-dimensional hack-and-slack RPG that is reminiscent of arcade fighting. The art style of Elsword is a bright and colorful anime theme that utilizes comic book squares for its cutscenes. Currently in Elsword there are 6 available characters to play, offering different playing styles and storylines. While you do have quests, like most MMOs, Elsword's storytelling gives you your character a voice, a personality, that is usually lacking in other MMOs. Each character brings their own unique abilities to the table. So enough talking, let's go ahead and hop into a quick playthrough of the beginning of Elsword for a small taste of what this free MMO has to offer. Alright everybody, for our first playthrough, I've chosen Elsword, the main character. So let's see, here's the introductory. The introductory is all in Japanese, or Korean, one of those. So have you ever heard the stories of the legendary Captain of the Red Knights with hair like a flame and a heart full of fire? That's my sister. When I was still a kid, she made me a promise that I would train every day to build up my strength and skill with the sword. So they give you an introductory story for each person. Training paid off, and so I became the youngest member of the L Explorers. My sister, though, what happened to her? Alright, so as you can see, you can move with the arrow keys, and then your skills are used with A, S, D, C. Attacks are with Z and X. I'll show that in just a second. Oh great, I can't believe this kid followed all this way. Oh, the thieves. Okay. That's a cute kid, you're welcome to try. Alright, so move back and forth. It's kind of like there's like a combo system where X is just a swing, and then you get a different attack with Z. And you build combos, kind of like in your traditional fighter games. So, and it's stage based. So after you defeat a certain amount of enemies, you go on to the next stage. I'm trying not to show that much of the story, mostly because if you want to try the game, I don't want to ruin the story for you. Stop right there, beast. Where's the Elsword? So yeah, that guy looks a little menacing. You've got to be kidding. Wow, that was easy. That was just kind of a brief tutorial on the first. It's the tutorial level of Elsword. Like I said, I'm trying not to really cover too much of the story because that's something I would like you guys to experience, because you know the storyline's actually pretty darn good for an MMO. Come on, baby. So yeah, it's very much like an arcade game style. At the end of each match, you know, depending on your combos and your technical score, you get a grade which gives you experience rewards and the similar. Where have you been? The village. Okay, so what we're going to now is called Reuben Village. It's the beginning, like, quest hub type area. This is where you find your mailbox and you can gain quests, because quests are what you really need to go do the dungeons. You can do the dungeons without them, but this is also where you can interact with other people. As you go along in the game, there's a lot bigger cities. So let's see. Let's grab a quest from the chief guy, Chief Haggis. Oh, we gotta finish the quest first, and he'll hopefully give us another one. Now you get titles in this game, but even though it says a new title has been unlocked, basically you still have to. It's unlocked in the sense that now you can see what you have to do to get the title. Like you have to defeat a certain amount of enemies, or you have to get a certain combo, or you have to do something like that. And I leveled up. Excellent. All right, let's take a look at our skills. Now, each character has different skills. So for Elsword, he has a passive skill, which every person has a passive skill, which just increases physical defense power. Then Mega Slash, which is his active ability, that's on A, and then Counterattack is his active ability, that's on S. And of course, down the line, you gain more abilities. And you invest it, and it's like a typical talent tree, you know, something along those lines. So I have 2 skill points to invest, and I'm kind of just showing off a little bit of the abilities, and there's just a ton. There's a ton to it, so it's not easy by any means, but it's not the most convoluted skill system I've ever seen. So I'm learning, I'm actually upgrading my special attack because I want it to do more damage. It's your special attack, come on. Your inventory, there's a lot of tabs for a lot of different things, and it's not bad. It's just, you know, they kind of just thrust you in there. Here's the title system I was talking about just a second ago. As you can see, it says I unlocked a title, but I haven't acquired it. And so what I think that means is just, you know, you got to do stuff in order to actually use the titles. Also about the quest hub, or the town, Reuben Village, there's the mailbox, which you can, you know, message other players, send them items. Sometimes you get items from the system itself that's like, congrats, you know, here's a special event, something along those lines. Here's the store owner. She'll give you a couple quests. You know, you get quests from everybody, and then there's stores where you can buy healing items, and I think you can buy weapons. But usually you get weapons from the dungeons. So if we continue heading right, we'll enter the dungeon area. And so from here, there's basically 2 hubs. There's a town hub, and then there's the dungeon hub. And you use the dungeon hub to get to all the different dungeons. And it's kind of similar to the Dragon's Nest that I previewed in a previous Games for Cheap Bastards. So for now, whenever you try to join one, you can either create a party or join one. You typically have to create one, and you could just start it immediately. Most of the beginning dungeons, you don't need anybody. Alright, so here we go. Let's do this. Alright. So it is timed in a sense that the longer you take, the less of a score you get. Alright, take out these guys. You gotta clear everyone out of the first level in order to proceed. And sometimes you gotta open the door. Kinda weird. Break the door to the next stage. And then you just wait for it to load, and it'll continue on to the next stage. Let me try my special ability. So you can see it does a lot of damage, and up at the top, you only have a certain amount of like ability points or magic points or something like that. And the way you get those is you use regular attacks and you gain them faster. And the more ability points, then you can actually use your ability. Now you can jump and use your jumping attacks. I mean, that's not really that big of a deal. I mean, it's like an arcade game, pretty much, which, in my opinion, gives it a really cool interactive feel. Because with some MMOs like WoW or, you know, even well, Dragon's Nest was similar to this, but other MMOs is more of a like Dungeons and Dragons feel, where you enter your turn and then you have cooldowns and whatnot. In this game, it's more action-based, where you control when your person hits exactly. It isn't you wait for your turn or anything like that. Which I enjoy a lot. I like being able to interact with them more. I mean, I used to play all those cool arcade games like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Trails of Time. Alright, so here we are at a boss. Every dungeon has a boss at the end. It kind of goes with the story and the quests. So this guy looks pretty menacing, but he's really not, because it's the first dungeon. So let me beat the snot out of him. Oh, I missed. Let me make sure I get these chests. Now they give you power-ups, you know, healing and whatnot. It's very, very, very reminiscent of Dragon's Nest. There we go. Alright. So there, we completed the quest with the Tree of L, any difficulty. Pretty easy. Cool little cutscene at the end. And I got a... Hey, not bad. Not too bad. So, this is a free-to-play game, obviously, because that's all I review on Games for Cheap Bastards, but the reason why it's free-to-play is if you look at the bottom right, there's something called stamina. And I'm just going to go ahead and complete these quests real quick, but stamina basically is what prevents you from just playing this game full for free. You know, they got to make money somehow. So, stamina, basically, every time you do a dungeon, you lose stamina. It's very, very reminiscent of Dragon's Nest. So the beginning dungeons don't really require that much stamina, but as you progress, it takes more and more stamina each time. So we've only completed the first dungeon, and it only took 4%. So that's, I mean, that's encouraging. That means we can do, what, 24 dungeons? Did I do that math right? Really? I did the math right. Excellent. So, we gained a level, gonna put some more points. I've unlocked the next tier, which, strike your enemy 5 times with a charged sword attack. I'm definitely gonna get that, because that's pretty sweet. And I'm probably gonna show you one more dungeon, the next dungeon, and that's probably gonna be it. I want you guys to be able to experience this game. It's definitely a lot of fun. It absolutely is a lot of fun. It's just whether would I spend a large amount of time on the game? Probably not. It seems like one that I would pick up and play once a week, maybe 2 or 3 times a week if I really wanted to. I haven't really explored the pay-to-play option, like paying money to unlock stuff, mostly because that's not what this is about. This is a game for cheap bastards, not games for people who have a little bit of money. So alright, we're going to do the next dungeon. It's going to be a little bit different. We're going to actually get some different different guys in here now. These guys are a little bit more docile, but that kind of goes with the story. So the object I'm trying to do here now is I'm trying to do a little bit better combos, because combos are very important, because that's what gives you the good scores. So you just don't want to run around swinging haphazardly. Also, if you can see, my quest says I have to defeat a certain amount of these guys, so it's just like most other MMO quests. I would say one downside so far to this, from my playing experience, is that the game just, I won't say it gets old after a while. It just, you play this type of style and it doesn't change that much. I mean, you get new abilities, yes, but it's still hack and slash. And there's new enemies, yes. But I don't know. I think it's just me that, from my experience, I like games that constantly change and you're in new environments. And I mean, you get that from here, but it's not like your typical MMO. From a free standpoint, though, I think it's great. I think Elsword gives you a really great experience so you don't have to put any money into it. It's just it won't last you, and it'll wear off after, it'll lose its luster. But yeah, the game also reminds me of, if anyone's ever played it, Dungeon Fighter Online, which I think recently just went to Steam, maybe a month or 2 ago. So if you haven't had a chance, I'll probably do Dungeon Fighter Online at some point. That game is very, very similar to this one. Now we break down the door. Okay, let's see. Alright, so we got 2 more stages until the boss. Excellent. And I need to learn to guard. I'm pretty confident you can guard. I can at least use my counter ability. I will show other characters. I won't show gameplay, but I will show just a brief instance later on in this video about each particular character. Most of the characters, at least. Besides Elsword, there's a mage woman. There's a guy with a claw. I don't know the story too much. I really probably should have looked into that a little bit more. Excellent, cleared. Let's go. Now this is of course the beginning of the game, so don't get very and this is also only on medium mode, I believe, easy or medium. So don't get discouraged by how easy I'm taking these guys out. Each dungeon has different difficulties, which obviously gives you better items, but also and more XP, but obviously it's a lot more difficult. And you know, some quests require you to do more difficult stuff. Now, as you can see, my stamina is slowly going down, and it's basically based off of how long you take in a dungeon. So if I'm sitting here, you know, taking my sweet time, I'm gonna start losing stamina. So that's why time is of the essence. You can't just wander around, kind of like what I'm doing now. Alright, boss time. Oh, this guy just looks like one of the other ones. It shouldn't be too bad at all. Now obviously they give you a boss health bar. I mean, bosses obviously get a lot more difficult, because I mean, some dungeons you need to team up with other people in order to be successful. Right now, at the beginning of the game, obviously that's not going to happen. But all this video is for is to show you a little bit of the gameplay, how it works. It's like a hack and slash arcade game. That's all, you know, it could be a lot of fun. I just find it could get a bit repetitive. And there we go. And so as you can see, 80, or can't now, but 92% stamina, so we've used 8% stamina in the, what, 20 minutes that we've been playing? 20, 30 minutes? Maybe that? That's not too shabby, but you gotta keep in mind later levels, you could maybe run in 1 dungeon a day on your free account. So, I'm gonna end it here. Thank you guys for watching this playthrough. And let's get to the review. What exactly do I think of Elsword? Being a cheap bastard myself, since we have no money, the only thing we have to spend is time. Therefore, on a scale from no time to some time to all my time, I give Elsword the ranking of some time. While Elsword does provide eye-catching graphics, hack-and-slash arcade-style combat, and intuitive storyline, it lacks the ability to really keep your attention after the initial capture. I mean, after a while, the battles get a bit repetitive, and you kind of begin to feel a bit limited in what you can do with your stamina point. Regardless, Elsword is an excellent game to play for an hour to a day. Just don't plan a weekend around it. Thank you for watching Games for Cheap Bastards. If you have a free MMO you want me to review, or you want me to talk about here on Games for Cheap Bastards, just leave a comment down below. Until next time, I'm Cruisin' Man, and remember, it isn't about money, it's about time.